Perfect. Perfect.
All right, everybody, what's going on? And welcome to today's edition of SWAC Talk. Of course, this is a show we cover the SWAC inside and out. And I am your tour guide around the SWAC Seawells coming at you. And today, we're going to talk a little Alabama State football, man. Today is our Alabama State preview. So we're going to talk everything that's Hornets related. We're going to look at my thoughts on the 2023 season and what to expect from these Hornets, from these big bad Hornets. So with that being said, man, I got a list of my upcoming previews on the screen. I'm actually gonna drop this on Tuesday. I was gonna drop it on Wednesday, but since Tuesday is the 4th of July and everybody is doing their thing and chilling, I decided to go ahead and put this out today instead of Wednesday. But all my previews will be dropping on Sundays and Wednesdays. I just decided to drop this one early. You can check out the schedule. It's on all my socials. They are on the screen down below. Facebook is SWAC Talk, Instagram SWAC Talk, Twitter SWAC Talk 76. Don't forget, you can become a member of the channel by hitting that join button on the front of the YouTube page. I think it's on the videos too. You get the join button. Don't forget to subscribe, man. We making our way up to 1K. Definitely excited about that. So help us continue to get to that march to 1K. If you've already subscribed, and thank you very much. If not, why don't you go ahead and hit that button, man, and help us get to this 1K and make that happen. Also hit the notification bell and like the video and comment your thoughts on what you think Alabama State season, how you think Alabama State season is going to turn out. So 2022 Alabama State, the Hornets actually were a surprise team this past season. I really, I think a lot of people didn't really know what to expect from Alabama State because this was a team who kind of found their way into a little bit of, I don't want to say controversy, but they found their way into a little bit of uncertainty because they hired a coach who hadn't coached college football, who hadn't coached any football, and they were really trying to make things happen. So the Hornets actually ended up with a pretty solid season, finishing 6-5 on the season and 4-4 in conference. A lot of people didn't know how this team was going to play all season, and they actually had one of the better defenses in the league last season. Really, really great defense. Was number 2 in scoring defense last season, giving up 20 points per game. Number 5 in total defense, allowing 325 yards per game and 4.9 yards per play. They were 5th in rushing defense at 133 yards per game, allowing 3.8 yards per carry. And they were 5th in passing defense at 192 yards per game, while registering 24 sacks and gathering 10 interceptions on the season. So this defense was actually really, really solid. The problem with this team last season was offense. The offense just could not get it done, scoring an average of 19.4 points per game, which was second only to Valley from the bottom. Total offense, this team was number 11 at 307 yards per game. Their rushing offense was 11th as well at 111 yards per game and only 3.1 yards per carry. The passing game was a little bit better. They were 6th in the league at 195 yards per game with 12 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Completed 60% of their passes, which was actually second in the league. And this was a team that allowed 30 sacks on the season. So as you can see, this is a tale of two teams. Offense was really not that good. Defense was solid. Um, Defense can only hold up for so long. This team was actually fifth in third down conversions as an offense with 39%. The defense gave up a lot of. The defense was, what are they? They were seventh in third down at 38%. And fourth downs, Alabama State was actually last at 16%. They only went for it 12 times. They got two. The opponents converted 30% on fourth downs. So, like I said, if you look at this team, on one side, the offense just, really could not make things happen. Defensively, they did everything that they could do, and that ultimately led to a 6-5 record. Now, this upcoming season, obviously the big question is, can the offense get better? I mean, obviously it has to get better. Bringing in, you got a quarterback play has been an issue. You lose Miles Crowley to Grambling. You return Demetrius Davis, but you also bring in Damon Stewart, who was a transfer from UAB at quarterback. So that's definitely gonna open up some competition. This team loses their leading rusher from last season, Ja'Cory Merritt. So you're losing 467 yards from him and 4 touchdowns. You're also losing 443 yards and a touchdown from Santo Dunn. You're also losing one of your top receivers, Jeremiah Hickson. He had 31 catches for 364 yards and 4 touchdowns on the season. But you do return Keyshawn Johnson, who caught 31 passes for 530 yards and 3 touchdowns on the season. So you definitely do have a great weapon there in the pass game. The key is, can these quarterbacks make some things happen? Can they get the ball to the playmakers? Because that is depth at the receiver position. Tight ends, you also have some guys there. You have a couple guys who have transferred in previously from Power 5 schools that you would love to see take a step. A guy like Jalen Lay, you really would like to see him take a step as a tight end and become that security blanket type of guy for your quarterbacks. Because you just need somebody that can make some things happen for your offense. Also, a guy like Jace Medlock, who also got a lot of playing time last season as a freshman at tight end, can also help this offense. But Keyshawn Johnson is obviously the guy that stirs the drink for your pass game. Isaiah Scott also returns another guy in Darius Edmonds, who caught 12 passes last season for 236 yards and 19 yards per catch. So that's another big play weapon for this offense if they can find a way to continue to get this offense on track. You got to find an identity. Are you going to be a team that runs the ball more than you pass it? Are you going to take advantage of the legs of Davis and a big power back like Juwan Howell, who last season actually was third on the team, in rushing with 261 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's a bruiser. He's a guy. His longest run last season was 16 yards. So he wasn't necessarily a guy that was going to break them. But can you find another guy to go with him as a complementary piece? That's going to fall on a few other guys, and maybe you can find somebody who steps in there and helps him out there, because you're gonna have to have a running game at some point. Last season, with the backs you had to run the ball for 111 yards per game, that's criminal. So you really want to see that get better, and it definitely would help your quarterbacks. Because like I said, you have talent at the receiver position. You have talent at the tight end position, and you really need to find a way to take some pressure off of the defense. I mean, your defense still has star power. Your defense, by my calculations, I could be off a guy or two because it's hard putting these things together, looking at participation records and whatnot. But if you return 6 starters on offense and 6 on defense, by my calculation, but you return some star power in Adrian Maddox and Bubba Adams, and also a guy like like Mikey Victor, who came on strong later in the season. So there are guys who are still returning on the defense. You lost some big pieces on defense, but you return a guy like Bubba Adams, who I think Isaiah Major is going to be the defensive player of the year preseason, but I could easily see Bubba Adams being that preseason defensive player of the year. He finished with 128 tackles, and he finished with 12 tackles for loss, which also led the team at 2 sacks. So that's a guy who, as long as he's healthy, he's gonna be a playmaker on your defense. He's gonna be a tackling machine, and he's gonna help that defense grow. Grow day in and day out. Stephon Young role is another guy who you can count on to make this defense better. Like I said, Adrian Maddox had 49 tackles last season as a freshman. Was All-American as a freshman. He's only going to get better. It hurts to lose a guy like Nelson Jordan, who finished with 10 sacks. That's going to have to be replaced by numbers. But I think this defense is still going to be tough. I think you have to find a way to get this offense to pull some of the weight to keep the pressure off the defense, because the defense can only carry you for so long before they start to wear down, because they just don't really have it all game to be going in and out of the game all game while the offense doesn't do anything with the ball. So the key question to me is obviously, can the quarterback make things happen? Can Davis take another step as a quarterback? Can he stay healthy? That was an issue last season with him getting, missing time with injuries. You have a guy in Stewart who comes over from UAB. Can he make some things happen if the position falls to him? Can he be a viable backup for your quarterback? Can your run game get better? Can you find a complementary piece to go with Howell as the lightning to his thunder? And can those pass catchers, can they make the plays if the quarterback is able to get the ball to them? That position, receiver and tight end, I feel like are the strengths of this offense. The offensive line, by my calculations, they returned 3 starters. They weren't that great last season, but they can continue to get better with more reps and more continuity. They do return a couple other guys that did start a game or two here or there. So they have some experience coming back. When you look at this offensive line from the spring of 2020 to now, this was a very young offensive line in the spring of 2021. So fall 2021, they got a little bit more experience, and then this season, a little bit more experience. So this line is still coming together, and it needs to continue to get better. The depth of this team as a whole is important. You're losing some unexpected guys to the portal in recent months, so that means guys who were counted on to be reserve guys are now stepping up into roles. Can somebody fill those roles that they left to move up? So that's a big issue. The portal really hit Alabama State hard with key guys that they lost this past offseason. Special teams is a question as well. You're losing your kicker and your punter, so that definitely is one thing that you really you're basically starting over. You're starting over on your special teams unit. You're losing your kicker, your punter, and your kickoff guy. You do return Jaden John, who was 2 of 4 on field goals this past season. So that's a guy who at least did some kicking, and I know they're bringing in a few other guys to fill those roles. The special teams units, as far as returns go, they weren't really spectacular last season. But you're losing Santo Dunn, who was your leading punt returner and your leading kickoff returner. Robert McMahon is the leading returner in terms of kick returns and punt returns. He's the leading guy coming back this season with 6 returns on punts for 27 yards and 10 kickoff returns for 225 yards. So not a lot going on there. He did have one of the longest returns on the season on kick returns with 43 yards. So that's an area that's gonna have to improve. The return game is gonna have to get better. The kicking game is gonna have to get better. The offense has to improve. You have to, like I said, you have to take some of the pressure off of the defense, because it's only so long that the defense can continue to grow. I mean, continue to hold down the fort while the offense kind of finds their way. And a lot of that also leads to looking at the sidelines. Can the coaching staff make the proper adjustments? Do they have the right guys running this offense to get the most out of the playmakers that you have? So with the questions that you have on offense, it really makes it tough to make a prediction on this team, because we can say that this offense is going to get better, and I'm sure they will, but it's hard to say with certainty that this offense is going to take a big leap from last season to this season. They have to. I mean, like I said, you cannot average 19 points a game and win ball games. I mean, yes, your defense did a really good job of keeping teams off the scoreboard, only allowing 20 points per game, but you have to find a way to score more than that. 27 points, 24 points. I mean, that's like a 9, 10 point jump. But if you can get yourself over 20, you at least give yourself a fighting chance. But until that happens, you count on the defense to continue to hold down the fort for a long time, and I just don't know if they're going to be able to do that. Looking at the schedule, this schedule is, I wouldn't necessarily say it's difficult, but it's got some challenging games. You don't have a money game on the schedule this season, so that definitely helps you out. You open up your season at home against Southern. I feel like that's gonna be an ugly game. Southern offense, they have a lot of playmakers coming back. They brought in a lot of playmakers, but quarterback is the question. The defense should be solid. Alabama State's defense will be solid. The offense is going to be a question in the first game of the season. So that leads me to picking Southern to win this game, strictly because I feel like Southern returns more, especially in the skill positions, and I think that they can help their quarterback find his way through the game, because I think this will be more of a defensive type game. I can see this game being like a 24-21 type of game, and I'm not really giving a score prediction, but I can feel a game like that. Special teams is going to be also a difference maker for Southern, bringing back a really solid punter and kicker. So those are advantages that they have in that game. But I can see this as a toss-up, but right now I'm going with Southern in that game. September 9th, they host Miles College. Miles has given Alabama State some fits the last couple of years, but they've found ways to win, and I think they'll continue to do that. This would be a great game for them to start to get their offense on track. If the offense doesn't have a great game in the first game, this can be a really good game for them to get their offense going against a team like Miles. Now Miles is going to put up a fight, but you can find you should be able to find a way to manage that game and get a victory there. After an early season bye week in week 3, you go to Tallahassee on September 23rd to take on FAMU. Last season, Alabama State gave FAMU everything they wanted and more. It came down to a blocked field goal at the end to seal the deal for FAMU. Previous season, Alabama State went to Tallahassee and didn't play well. Can they take advantage of a team with some questions as well? Who knows what FAMU's mind state is going to be after the Orange Blossom Classic? If they win, will they be able to play ahead? If they lose, who knows how they'll fare mentally in this game? So this is a tough game to kind of figure out, because you don't really know where each team will be. In this situation, you kind of err on the side of the home team. With FAMU having a pretty substantial home winning streak, I think they'll keep that going in this game. But I think Bama State, if they can find some way to put some points on the board, they can make this game very, very interesting. September 30th, they host Alcorn. This game could be tough. I mean, for Alcorn is my preseason West Division champ. So I have them as the favorites in this game. But Bama State can cause some problems at home, and they've done it before. Alcorn, at this point in the season. You know, yes, they have a quarterback that everybody's excited about, but you know, is he going to be able to make things happen in action that they believe he can? You know, we'll see. But the difference in this game to me would be a guy like Jarion Howard. I think he'll be able to wear that defense down if you know if he can get going. If Alabama State is able to slow down that running game, that gives them a shot in this game. But right now, sitting here at this point, I'm going with Alcorn in that game. Did I? I'm going with Alcorn in that game, and then that leads us to October 7th against Bethune-Cookman. This should, you know, at home, it's homecoming. This is a good game to give your homecoming crowd, you know, a nice outing. We don't know what Bethune-Cookman is going to be at this point. They are bringing in a ton of new guys. They don't return a lot of guys. You know, new coaching staff, the whole nine. You know, who knows where they'll be at this point? But I think Alabama State has enough to beat them and pick up a victory there. And that takes us to Jackson State in Jackson. That's going to be a tough matchup. Bama State's played them tight, at least you know relatively tight the last couple of years. So you know I think that this will still be a physical game. It'll be an intense game, but I still feel like Jackson State is going to have the edge and talent in this game and playing at home on their homecoming. I think that that'll be enough to get them by the Hornets in that game. After their traditional bye week before the Magic City Classic, they head to Birmingham on October 28th to take on the Bulldogs of Alabama A&M. This game is a definition of a toss-up game. I think that this game is going to decide who probably finishes third and who finishes fourth. Because I think Bethune-Cookman has 6 on lock at this point. So this is a game that could go either way. I would, you know, last season Alabama State was able to get the victory. I can see them winning this game, but I feel like Alabama A&M has a better offense at this point, and they have a more proven special teams, which is definitely going to be a factor in this game. Now, Alabama A&M defense they're not great. So if there's going to be anything that I think can help Alabama State in this game is the fact that A&M defense is not very good at this point. Can that be can they get their offense going and give them an opportunity to stay in this game? I mean, they won this game last season by a score of 24-17. And when you look at this game last season, it was a pretty even affair. Neither offense did much. Alabama State won this game with 215 yards of offense. So that's gaining 215 yards of offense against that defense that Alabama A&M had last season is not good. But you were able to win this game regardless. So I don't know. I don't really know how you're gonna find a way to do this. But I like enough of the rambling. I like Alabama A&M in this game, so I do think Bama State can win it. But I'm going with Alabama A&M in this game, and that takes us to November 4th. They take on Grambling in Mobile. This should be an interesting game. Miles Crowley is not a quarterback at Grambling, or at least he should be the starting quarterback. Most signs point to that, but you never know. But if that's the case, then he's playing against a former team. Could be an interesting thing, But I think Alabama State will win this game. I think they'll get off the little slide that they were on coming into this game. If they beat Alabama A&M, this game could be a really solid game for them to help boost their momentum into the final stretch run of the season. Because the stretch run is not as tough as the beginning part. So if they can, they can win this game and maybe get past Alabama A&M, you find yourself looking at a totally different season record-wise. November 11th, you go to Valley. This game typically would not be a game that I say look out for, but Valley and Itabena is always a very interesting situation. I'm not saying that Valley will always win those games at home, but they find a way to make those games more interesting in Itabena. They did catch Alabama A&M late in the season last season at home. They caught Prairie View at home last season, so it can be done. But I think Bama State will win this game. I think it's gonna be a slugfest. But I think Bama State will win this game. Looking at things the way they are right now, I think they'll win this game. That leads us to November 18th at Prairie View. Another game that I think could go either way, but Prairie View's offense is really great with the run game. That's a matchup that I really would love to see again. That run game against Bama State's run defense. Prairie View's defense, they lost a few guys last season, but they're still a pretty solid unit. I think that's enough to me to win this game at home. Depending on how divisional races go, Prairie View could still be in the hunt for the West Division. That can really impact this matchup as well. But right now, I think Prairie View will win this game. It still could be considered a toss-up, but I think Prairie View will win that game. And that leads us to our final game of the season, which is the Turkey Day Classic against Tuskegee. Tuskegee has always managed to typically find a way to make this game more interesting than it needs to be. When you look at it, over the last 12 games, Tuskegee is actually 7-5 against Bama State. So that's not good. 2021 they did beat Tuskegee 43-9. And Bama State's on a 3-game winning streak in this series. So maybe they finally put that Tuskegee bugaboo behind them. Typically, when the score is high, Bama State wins this game, other than 64-58 loss in overtime in 2007. If Bama State can score over 20 points, they typically win this game. So if they can find a way to get that offense going and get some points, they'll win this game and win their 4th game in a row in this matchup. So, like I said, there's a few swing games that could move this season, various directions. But my prediction is 5-6. That's a slight step back from last season. 3-5 in conference. I really, like I said, I really just don't know with this offense. Like I said, the offense scares me, so it's hard for me to pick them to win a lot of games with the offense as I see it right now. Obviously, when the season gets going, anything, things can change. But right now, it's tough for me to pick them to win a lot of games. That's not saying that those games aren't winnable. Every game on this schedule is winnable. There is no game on the schedule that's 100% underdog situation. You're playing 9 SWAC opponents, so 9 SWAC opponents are very winnable. 2D2 games, very winnable. This is a schedule that if your offense can take a step and become a solid offense, you could have a very good season looking you in the face if things fall into place for you, because this schedule is not super tough. Your tougher games are all pretty much spaced out, probably with the exception of FAMU and Alcorn. Southern's interesting game. You get them, then you get Miles. You get FAMU and Alcorn back to back. That's probably your toughest couple game stretch. You get Bethune-Cookman, then you get Jackson State. Alabama A&M and Grambling are obviously toss-up games, so that's probably I guess you could probably say that 3-game stretch is your toughest stretch. Then you get Valley, and then Prairie View, and then Tuskegee. So it's manageable if you can find a way to win a couple games early and put yourself in a pretty solid position. So that's why I feel like the ceiling for this team is 8-3. 8-3 is a good situation. That means you're probably gonna, win a couple games in conference more, and find yourself, maybe fighting for a division championship or a second place finish. So I don't really see this team as having a bad season. I think the floor is 4-7. That's probably gonna, that's taking another toss-up game and flipping it the other way. Um, I don't see the team finishing worse than that because I think, I think that they can find wins against the teams that I feel like they're better than. They just have to beat a couple of teams who they're on par with or better are on par with, or those teams are better than, to find themselves in a decent position. So I can see this team winning 5, 6, 7 games for sure. Um, just on my prediction right now, I went with 5, but it can easily switch depending on how this offense goes. This offense is going to dictate the season. If the offense doesn't play well, I don't think this is going to be a really good season for this team. So that's going to do it for our show today. I would like to thank y'all for tuning in and rocking with us. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Hit that super thanks to show us a little love. Hit the like button. And don't forget to check us out on Thursday with the 100th episode of SWAC Smoke. We're also going to celebrate 2 years of SWAC Smoke. So this is going to be a big celebration episode coming at you on Thursday. So make sure y'all catch that 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to do it up. And that's going to do it for me, man. I'm going to catch y'all on Sunday with our next preview as we preview the Alcorn State Braves. And from now, we're going to make our way down the list. So we'll catch y'all on the rebound. I hope everybody having a good fourth. And stay safe. And we'll catch y'all on another edition of SWAC Talk. We're out of here. Peace.